Thank you everybody for coming today. So to begin, let's start off with a chant. If you know it, just please chant along. Om Stapakaya Dharmasya Sarva Dharma Sarupine Avatara Varishtaya Ramakrishnaya Te Namah. To Sri Ramakrishna, the embodiment of all ideals, may you give your blessings to us on this auspicious day. I want to welcome everybody coming today on this auspicious day of Ramakrishna's birthday. And we were supposed to have a magician perform today. So, like the magic act, it vanished. But as a replacement, we have something which I think is even better. As many of you know, Swami Yogeshananda is a long-time sadhu of the Ramakrishna order. He's not able to come here anymore to San Diego, nor is he able to go outside Trabuco because the body just won't permit him to do so anymore. He's now 93 in age, and if you don't know the Swami, he's really an incredible soul. I think at this time, Swami, we can start to, when you reach over 90, we can start to eulogize you. He was in Chicago. Actually, where did you join, Swami? Just so I San Francisco. He was in San Francisco. He joined in San Francisco at Swami Yogeshananda, one of the great Swamis in our order. He was in Hollywood under Swami Prabhavanandaji. He had been in India. He's actually a disciple of Swami Yatishwaranandaji, who's a very, very famous Swami in our Ramakrishna order. He actually started a center in Philadelphia and was in Germany, and then had passed away in 1966 in India. He was one of the vice presidents of our order. And if you ever, some of you have ever come across a book called what's it called?
I'm supposed to be giving you this talk.
Oh, you are. Okay. One other thing I do want to add is because he has traveled around to so many places, he has met many, many great spiritual people. And he's actually written about this. And so there's a book called Six Lighted Windows. And if you haven't seen it, it's a great book. It's a book that gives you insights into what great souls are like. And sometimes it may, we may think great souls are always in joy and in ecstasy and illumination. No, it gives you really hardcore facts. Sometimes they may break your ego by scolding at you. But there's always some message in every action they're doing. And so the idea is to uncover that message, uncover that lesson that they're giving to us. So we are very fortunate. Swami Yogeshananda agreed to come. And this is one of the rare times he is coming. So Swami Yogeshananda, we'd like to have you.
Am I loud enough for everyone?
Yes.
It's good to be back with you all. I am not very mobile now, so this is an exception. I answered your Swami's call. I give a class every other week in Trabuco on the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Aren't you amazed as you go through this book, and I hope all of you do from time to time, if not every day? Aren't you amazed at the amount of practicality that he shows? He knows not just his village. He came from an obscure village, and he knew village life. But he knows Calcutta. He knows the big people in Calcutta. He knows the businesses around in the city. He keeps abreast of what's happening among the religious groups in the city. And I wonder why it is that the biographies detail his life up until the time that he moves to Calcutta. And then, for the next 3 years, there's almost nothing. Until he goes to the Dakshineshwar temple and has his tremendous awakening with Mother Kali. They call that the beginning of his sadhana. That's the chapter name, the beginning of his sadhana. Well, that isn't the beginning of his sadhana. Why do they ignore the 3 years in which he assisted his brother in the city? You know what he did. He went around from house to house performing the Brahminic rituals because rich people, but mostly non-Brahmins, demand rituals performed in their homes to purify them and to sanctify them. And they do that sometimes twice a day. And they would hire Ram Kumar, his older brother, and Ramakrishna to come to their homes and do these things. He entered many, many homes of Calcutta. He learned many lessons from the people he met. He must have learned a great deal about the life of the city, what it was. He must have understood a lot about life that he didn't know before. Why do the books leave out all of that in the formation of an avatar? An avatar, every section of an avatar's life is important. You can't leave out 3 years just because they aren't filled with spiritual events. No, it's wrong. I don't approve of it. The book should be complete and should detail what can be gleaned. And there are some things can be gleaned from those 3 years. And I am impressed with how much worldly wisdom we find in Sri Ramakrishna, and as a result of his contact with people like you and me, householders. He didn't just live with monks. He didn't just pick out his boys and go and stay and talk to them. He was able to talk to anyone and everyone because he had had a full experience of the world. I'm very firm about it. There's another thing I'd like to talk to you about tonight, and that is ritualism. Because this center, I think, has got now a reputation as being a ritualistic center, in the sense that not that other centers don't have rituals, but I think Senor Swami is famous, if not notorious, for liking to do ritual, and for making it very clear to people so that they understand it. I loved ritual too. I did this worship for many years. I did it for 2 years straight in Michigan. And I found it very, very helpful. Not only does it draw the mind inside into the interior of your mental furniture, but it spurs the heart to go deeper and deeper. Sometimes in worship you feel, well, I know what that's supposed to mean, but I don't feel that. I can't grasp that with my whole being. So again and again you go and you perform the same worship, the same rituals over and over, but they don't always sink in. And when you get through the 70 years that I've been doing these things, this is my more than 70 years now I've been in the order, and I can tell you the value of ritual, especially when it's explained like it is here. And it comes from doing it. I would suggest that you talk to your Swami about how to do it in your own home. In Atlanta, I had a number of people who wanted to do some kind of worship of Sri Ramakrishna in their home, and I devised a very abbreviated and simple kind of 5-item worship for them to do early in the morning. It made them get up early. Yes, that's true. You have to get up about an hour earlier, or half an hour or more earlier, and sit and do this little ritual. But it's worth it, and I recommend that more to you. When I think of how ritualistic this center is reported to be, I'm reminded of Swami Prabhupada, because he was among his brother monks. He was noted to be ritualistic. You know, he was the founder of this whole complex out of Southern California. He never saw the Santa Barbara Center, but he knew some of the earliest people who were involved in formation of San Diego, I meant. Not Santa Barbara, San Diego. He never saw the San Diego Center. And, but he knew some of the people who were involved in the beginning of this interest in San Diego. He was a very ritualistic person, not in the sense of doing a lot of rituals, but just in the way that he did them. He was so precise, so gracious. He had beautiful hands, and the way he moved them, the way he performed and offered things, the way he saluted, inimitable. You can't begin to describe it or copy it or anything. It was just wonderful. And lots of people didn't care for it, and they went somewhere else. But those of us who were dedicated and devoted to him, and in his family, we grew to appreciate every finger motion that he made, and every intonation of his chanting voice. He couldn't carry a tune. That doesn't matter. He chanted without tunes, and it was charming. It was charming. But you know, now that I'm in my 90s, more and more I tend to drop away the formalities, the rituals and the hymns and the prayers and the bhajans and prasad and all of the things that are associated with formality, worship. And I take more and more pleasure as I get to the end of my life in very simple things. I made a list of them. There are things that I find very, very holy. The laughter of little children, the chatter of the birds, ringing the great bell of our monastery, the greeting smile of a close friend. So many there. An airplane leaving California for the east. The sound of it. The sunsets out west over the water. Watching our cat waiting for a mouse or a gopher. Feeling the drops of rain that are so scarce. Emptying a wastebasket. The Dalai Lama's smile. The soothing voice of our dear Clement. Make your own list.
Thank you, Swami, for coming.
Sorry, I broke down.
That's okay.
That's the best part.
He's mentioned the last thing Swami said was the soothing voice of Mother Clemmy. So Clemmy was a person who had been here, who had lived to about 102, and was someone who showed us what spiritual life meant, and that if you practiced for as much as she did, and she really started, she said, in her 70s, after her second husband had passed away, she then said, this is it, either I can go on the path of yoga or boga. I choose yoga. So I'm no longer going to read the newspapers, I'm no longer going to be involved in the world, and I'm just going to close that door and now just go inward towards God. So she just basically closed the chapter to the world, no newspapers, no outside reading, nothing like this, no radio, and just opened the world inside and then just dove deep. And just by chanting a mantra, by telling the truth, she talks about certain things, she had reached the goal, we feel at least. And
with Sarada Devi.
Which Sarada Devi. Yeah, she thought she was like a child, little daughter of Sarada Devi. So, Swami, thank you so much, though, for coming and just this last minute and being here with us and shedding your presence with us. They said, how do we get inspired? Life inspires life. And so Swami was just telling you the things over the past years now, at this point, what does he value? And so these are things that we all normally see and hear and experience, but we just ignore them. And you can see, for Swami, they're the small things of life that are so meaningful, not the huge things. So, yes, Gautam?
See how active Swami is? He walks every day with this dog, up and down in Trabuco.
Swami is known. Most of us monks, we take naps after lunch and we need to rest. Swami doesn't rest. He's like an ever-ready battery. They just keep going and going and going.
You just wait.
Until it dies out. And then it becomes an infinite battery. So now I'd like to invite Denis to come and sing. And he had come a few months ago, and if you know, his voice is really soothing. It's got this what we call sattvic quality to it. It's good, Denis set up. And he's a longtime devotee back in Hollywood. I met him when I joined. Before I joined, I knew him a long time. And he used to sing songs for revered Swami Swahanandaji. And so what we're going to do is he's going to sing a few songs with us. And I'd like you to listen. In between his songs, we're going to play some of our senior Swamis giving their advice to what is spiritual life. Swami Shraddhananda, Swami Bhuteshanandaji. These are the presidents and the great senior Swamis in our order who are going to share with you just a 2-minute clip of something about spiritual life. And if you're open to it, it can be something that penetrates you and you can learn something new. Something that you can change through. So just be open. With Denis, he's going to open up your heart and open up your mind. With that receptive mind, be receptive to what the Swamis may say. And you may find some new insights.